juices. Fruit juice, we did not allow it last year, but my thought process on the fruit juice is that as long as it's 100% juice and it doesn't have the added sugars, we're going to allow it. Now, keep in mind, when you drink your calories, you tend to get more calories, so that's going to be another one of those foods that could be problematic if consumed in excess. So overall, as long as it's 100% fruit juice and there's no added sugars, it's going to be fine. That can be an easy way to, add a little flavor to some water if you don't want it to get too boring. It can be an easy way to season or sweeten up dishes since you don't have the use of sugar as well. So, and a lot of foods will use that if you go more organic or whole foods. They have that in their ingredient list, so we didn't want to say no juices at all because then you wouldn't be able to have a lot of different foods that are out there. So, good question. Yes?
So keeping your food log could just be like chicken and broccoli and grapes, since you're not counting how many, that would just be in your food log?
Yep, the food log is basically what you ate. Like I said, there's no judgment. So I'm not going to double check it with the score you put that day and make sure you were honest. Our scoring is on an honor system. There's a lot of money at stake. We trust you to be honest and not let down the people who are also in this working hard to get the points. So, it's not going to be up to me to be like, what did they put themselves in for the 23rd? Let me look at what they ate and see if they did it right. The food record is just our way of saying, you know what, we think that keeping track of what you're eating is one of the key things to eating well, so are you doing it?
You said the hummus is out because of chickpeas.
Yes.
What if it's made with zucchini?
If it's hummus made with zucchini, if it has any of the allowed foods or ingredients, you're fine. So if you do garlic and zucchini and olive oil or something like that, that's perfectly fine.
Share that recipe.
Yeah, I'll post it for you guys.
That would be a great recipe to share on the website. That's why it's there. Any more questions? Yes?
What about dried fruit?
Dried fruit, again, allowed. You got to find ones that don't have any added sugar. Okay? A lot of them do. Some of them don't. Raisins don't have added sugar. Apricots typically don't have added sugar. There's a few that you can buy that are sweetened with fruit juice now, but a lot of the dried fruit does have added sugar, so you just want to watch out for that. It is also, dried fruit, a concentrated source of calories. So again, if your goals are weight maintenance, something to limit.
What about like the little water additives, like a Mio or those kind of things?
The water additives, things like Mios, have the artificial sweeteners and artificial flavors, a lot of artificial nastiness, so those would be no. You're much better off with some lemon juice, freshly squeezed lemon, some cucumber ice cubes,
Did that say no peanut butter?
Correct.
It did say no peanut butter.
Yes, because peanuts are legumes. So, almond butter is allowed because almonds are on the allowed nuts or seeds. So, now keep in mind the things that you put peanut butter on are probably things that aren't allowed on the challenge anyway, so.
I was asking for this thing.
Okay. Apples and almond butter is good. Apples and cashew butter is good. Apple and sunflower seed butter is all right.
So everything that has marks and everything will be just printed out and keep it tracked?
No, it'll be on the website. So you'll go on the website.
You actually can go in
Yeah.
there. Oh, I see.
And you'll say, I had 3 meals today and I didn't eat any off meals, so you get a full 6 points. Or I ate 6 times today, but all of it was allowed foods. You get a full 6 points. So again, we're not judging. It may not be the healthiest diet, like all balanced and right calories, because the challenge, we just wanted to avoid any of those gray areas and just make it, did you follow the rules or didn't you? Jared.
Brandon's question, but if Brandon did all his sheet and he got 6 points, and then it's about 11:30 and he gets up and he has ice cream.
Meaning he already submitted his score?
I mean, technically, he did 6 during that day. It was just the 7th one that was kind of bad.
That is a good point. I would say don't try to beat the system. And be honest and give yourself a hit for the day.
You should eat it after midnight.
Eat after midnight. Yeah.
Wait till midnight, then have the ice cream. That's your first meal of the day. Boom.
Honestly, as far as meeting your nutrition needs, there's really no need to eat more than 6 times a day. So if you were training, for like an ultra marathon and had 5,000 calorie needs because you're an Olympic athlete or something and needed, that many calories, then we could talk. But I know no one's here doing that. So no one needs 5,000 calories here. At the most, maybe 3,000. You can get that 6 times. Yes.
To get on the web, do we have to participate to get on the website, to get the good recipes out that come through?
I think you have to, if you want to post, you have to be.
You have to log in.
Yeah.
Post, not to
If you
read
want to post on the website, like share something, then you do have to participate in the challenge, because we'll give you a login. But if you just want to look and see the information that's out there, that's free to anyone who's interested. So we had a few people, like after last year, redo the Fit 50 just because they wanted to keep going. To certain degrees, they kind of kept track of their score to see what their next 50 days would look like as they transition back. So you can definitely continue to participate. You just can't share on the community site.
The energy goos and everything, those are not allowed, right? Those are-
Correct.
they have a bunch of that.
Energy goos are not allowed. So there are mostly artificial or regular sugar, pretty much.
What was that, Jen?
The energy goos, like the goo gel, or like the energy gum drops, or pretty much anything made for endurance athletes, is going to be mostly, refined carbohydrates.
If you eat a bag of almonds throughout the day, you get a snack size of almonds, that counts as one meal?
A meal, the question is what counts as a meal? A meal is anything consumed at one time. So if you ate the bag of almonds as a snack, and then you still had more of almonds later in the day, that would be 2 separate times where you ate calories.
So that counts as 2 meals then?
So every time you eat counts as a meal. So the point being, eat enough at one meal that you don't need to eat 2 minutes later. Or eat enough at one meal that you're actually satisfied, and eat good foods that keep you feeling satisfied so that you can go 4 or 5 hours between a meal and not feel ravenous. If you're feeling hungry every 2 or 3 hours, you're not eating a balanced enough meal to where you're getting all your nutrients satisfied. Okay? So that's what I would say to that. Eat better at the meals that you are eating so that you don't need to eat 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day. Any more questions?
Amanda, what did you say about egg substitutes? Did you talk about that?
About what?
Egg substitutes?
About egg substitute?
Yeah, like egg beaters.
Like an egg beater or
Yeah.
something, I would look at the ingredient list. Most of the egg substitutes that I've seen, you could buy like the 100% egg whites. But
Yeah.
if you buy the stuff that's like the Southwestern eggs and
Yeah.
stuff, that could get a little sketchy.
Okay.
So the number one key to this, especially if you are buying convenience food, is to read your ingredient list. Your food label is not going to give you the information that you need, but the ingredient list of this is what's in this food is really going to be what helps you figure out if it's something that's allowed.
Will you just touch base on natural flavors?
Natural flavors. Natural flavor is an ingredient you'll see on quite a few things. So, natural flavor, in my opinion, is not an ingredient because it doesn't tell you anything. A natural flavor could come from tree bark. A natural flavor could come from animal body parts. A natural flavor could come from a piece of fruit. Natural flavor in and of itself doesn't tell you what you're eating. And most of those natural flavors, although they originated from a food source, have been chemically altered, chemically processed, so I wouldn't necessarily consider them a whole food. For this challenge, we're not really focusing on them as much, so it's not an unallowed ingredient as important as like the MSG and the carrageenan and the nitrates. But be aware of what's in your food, because a lot of the foods that are claiming to be healthy food or all natural ingredients may be modified. The best thing you can do for yourself is choose foods that you can read all the ingredient lists. And if you gave it to like a preschooler or someone who can read, like a kindergartner, they would know. If you remember that old Breyers commercial where the kid's trying to read his ingredients on the ice cream, Although, you know, I think they stopped him short of some of the added stuff in Breyers. But overall, you know, you want to know what's in your food. If you don't know what sodium dicarbonylate is, probably not something you want to be eating. But for purposes of this challenge, as long as it's not MSG, carrageenan, or the nitrates, you know, that's on you. Yes.
Mustard, like the brown mustard or grain mustard?
Mustard, you just want to look at the ingredient list. Most mustard is okay. It's usually mustard seed and vinegar. Some mustard has high fructose corn syrup and things like that, so you just have to watch out.
What about the FitLife meals? I know not all of them are.
The FitLife meals, you want to look for ones that follow in with the plan. You know, they have like a supercharged chicken that is basically just chicken and broccoli and sweet potatoes, so something like that would be allowed. But a lot of them have the quinoa, which would be a grain. Now, granted, if you didn't eat the quinoa and you just ate the meat and things, but like their mashed sweet potatoes, I don't exactly know what the sweetener is that they put in there. I know it's something. It may be honey, but it may be more. So FitLife is pretty open with their ingredients, so I would just call the main store and kind of see what's in it of the ones that you like the most.
No oatmeal.
Oatmeal is a grain, so no oatmeal. So now keep in mind, because a lot of people have issues with the breakfast foods. Food is food at any time. You know, people who work all night and wake up in the morning may eat what you consider dinner at your breakfast time. So there's nothing that says you can't have chicken or steak or fish at your typical breakfast time. There's nothing that says you can't have vegetables at your typical breakfast time. So don't feel like it's breakfast, all I can have is eggs, because you'll get really tired of that really quick. So this is your chance to kind of broaden your horizon, think outside the box, try new foods, see how they make you feel, see how they enhance your performance and just how you feel throughout the day. We had 10 minutes?
Yeah, we're at 12.